This is the Microsoft Surface 7 laptop, and to test how well it works as a portable workstation, I brought it with me to China for 1 week to really put it to the test. I used this laptop in the hotels we were staying in, cafes, and even on the bus. And now that I'm back in Singapore, let's talk about how well it performed. By the way, I've sectioned this video into different parts, so feel free to skip to whatever part you want. Firstly, let's talk about the design and build of this laptop. The Surface laptop that I have is the 15-inch variant at 33 by 40 cm and weighs about 1.66 kilograms. 1.66 is on the slightly heavier side for a laptop, but still easy to carry around as it's pretty thin at only 1.8 cm, which for context is slightly thicker than my iPhone with its case on. During the trip, we did lots of walking, and even with this thing in my backpack the entire time, I was fine. Might not be the best thing if what you're using is a tote or a sling bag, but I wouldn't suggest these bags anyway if what you're gonna be carrying around is a 15-inch laptop. It also has an aluminum body which feels very nice and sturdy. It doesn't even flex or bend when I try to give it a little bit of a twist. I mean, even opening this laptop just feels so premium. The keyboard is pretty decent for one that's stuck onto a laptop, and the trackpad feels really nice and responsive. And the clicks just feel oddly satisfying. For the ports, we have one headphone jack, one USB port, two USB-C ports, and a micro SD card reader, which is really nice if you're someone that edits videos like me. But I do have other cameras that use a normal SD card slot, so I did still have to bring my external card reader with me. Also, I think this works very well as a laptop, as in the balance doesn't tip over backwards when it's sitting on your lap, even when the screen is pushed all the way back. For the display and visuals, this laptop does really well. It has a 15-inch 1440p 120Hz touchscreen display. Let's zoom into each individual part. Now, the reason I said 1440p is because it's technically not. It's a 16 by 10 display, meaning it's actually slightly taller than your typical monitor. So it's not 2560 by 1440. Instead, it's 4886 by 1664. Very small difference, and in fact, I think the 1610 display is quite nice because it's a laptop. You're usually looking down at it. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's still a super clean and sharp display. The 120Hz makes it feel very smooth, especially since I'm spoiled by my PC's high refresh rate monitor. Honestly, in 2025, anything below 120Hz just doesn't really feel enough anymore. And lastly, the touchscreen is surprisingly very good to use. Even though I'm not very used to poking at my screen to select something, the 120Hz and the sturdy build of the display makes it really nice to use. Even when I literally grab a window like this and just shake it around, it feels great. But honestly, I wouldn't really use this laptop as a tablet. I see the touchscreen as more of an additional way to interact with your display aside from your mouse or trackpad. Oh, and I also wanted to mention the brightness. The 600 nits is definitely bright enough for use in a place like a cafe. I was doing work everywhere without a problem. Unless I was outside, especially when the sun is just blasting. The glare was too much and the screen just wasn't bright enough. Okay, now it's time for the specs and performance. The one that I have is powered by a Snapdragon X Elite CPU, but if you get the 13-inch version, there's also a less powerful Snapdragon X Plus available. For the GPU, we have a Qualcomm Adreno GPU and a Qualcomm Hexagon NPU with 45 TOPS. Okay, that all sounds cool, but those are just numbers. What performance does it actually give you in the real world? For me, I used it for writing on Google Docs, watching videos, and editing my own videos, specifically on CapCut. And this laptop held up quite well. However, if the load gets really high, like multiple 4K videos, transitions, and special effects, then yeah, it starts to struggle. But for a normal load, playback is smooth and it's just overall a great experience. However, do note that this is a ARM-based laptop. Apps that are optimized for ARM run beautifully on this laptop, but the apps that aren't, like Premiere Pro for example, don't run as well. They tend to take up more power and don't even run as smoothly. However, this does enable my next point, which is the battery life on this thing. It's absolutely insane. And it's mainly due to that Snapdragon X Elite chip inside. Microsoft's claim is 22 hours of video playback on a full charge. And during my entire trip, I don't think there was ever any point where I was worried about not having enough battery. And also the standby battery is disgusting. When I returned from the trip, I had a lot of other things to do, so I just left it in my bag for several days, like more than a week. And when I finally got around to taking out the laptop and opened it, I don't think the battery even dropped a couple of percent. I don't know if you can tell, but this is my first time truly experiencing an ARM laptop, like incorporate it into my daily workflow. And I am so impressed. You also get this 65-watt charger which charges it well but has this weird freaking hit, but it was made like that for safety. If someone walks by and yanks your cable, it just comes off instead of sending the entire laptop flying. But it also means that if it's positioned a little weirdly, it can sometimes just fall out. Now for me, this would have been a very annoying point, but they also let you charge through USB-C, so you know what? It's not that bad. And lastly, this is a CoPilot Plus PC, so we have to talk about all the AI features. Firstly, you have a dedicated CoPilot button, so you can ask CoPilot anything you want, be it how to do something on your computer or what you should eat for dinner. You can even ask it to generate a picture from a prompt. However, it can't edit already existing pictures. Windows Studio Effects is basically some cool effects that can be done on your webcam natively. You can blur your background, make the camera track you, or enable eye contact, which basically makes your eyes always look at the camera even if you're looking down at the script or maybe just watching a YouTube video on the side. However, I found out it doesn't really work well, at least for me, because I have small eyes. Co-Creator helps to turn your crappy drawings on Paint into actual images while accompanied by a prompt. For example, on my prompt, I typed out a cat on a washing machine in a pink forest. And after I very badly draw a basic composition, it generates an image on the side over here, live. It's a very fun tool to mess around with. Windows Image Creator is quite self-explanatory. You can generate any image you want using prompts. Designer lets you edit your existing pictures like removing the background or adding a filter. There are also other more advanced effects like erasing objects or making an image move using AI. But you need credits for those, so... Now, although these AI tools are pretty cool, especially Co-Creator, that blew my mind the first time I used it, I find that where they are right now, they are just tools that are fun to play with, but don't really fit very well into my current workflow. But that's just me. If any of these features seem like they would add on to your workflow, that's just another reason to get this laptop. Overall, as a productivity machine, this laptop is great. There was never a time while I was using the laptop that I felt like I needed more than it could provide. Microsoft really did a good job on this. If you want to check out the laptop for yourself, I've put a link in the description. It's not a sponsored link, don't worry, it's just their store page. So yeah, go check it out. And you know what? Since you're here, YouTube thinks you're gonna like this video. So I'll see you there. Bye!